popular animated cartoon, The Simpsons. As a way to manipulate the population through the media, a local news reporter, Kent Brockman, claims that democracy simply doesn't work. Hi, I'm Lily Mattis, and today I'll be discussing the global issue of controlling governments that oppress identity, limit independent thinking, and overall dictate culture. I've decided to relate this global issue to a very popular monologue from the play Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. Now, I've chosen to choose an expert from Julius Caesar because I believe that the themes of the struggle to maintain power and the division between the working and the ruling class are very prominent in this play, and especially the excerpt I have chosen. The excerpt I chose was given by Brutus, a very close friend of Caesar throughout the entire play, until he betrays him in the third act by murdering Caesar. So Caesar became a great dictator of the Holy Roman Empire, but he became too power hungry, too ignorant to listen to the simple countrymen that the masses of the Roman Empire decided to revolt against Caesar and ultimately ended up killing him. We see that Brutus opens up his monologue by saying Romans, countrymen, and lovers. Now, this inclusion of multiple parties really signifies the unification of the Roman Empire, bringing together a more unified, more whole Rome. There is always a desire for individual freedom and freedom of expression, freedom of opinion that democratic governments can really allow. Now, Brutus explains a lot of democratic ideals in his monologue by obviously the inclusion, but also asking several questions about patriotism towards his audience. He says, "Who here so vile that would not love his country?" Now, this is representation on how both the ruling class manipulated Brutus, who, although among the elites, was not a ruler at the time, so he was manipulated to love his country. He goes on to say, "Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more." And this really shows how when a person is manipulated by their rulers, they'd be willing to go to the great lengths as even to murder their own friends for the betterment of Rome. Now, Brutus is a very noble character throughout the play, but these themes of betrayal can almost not be overlooked for how harsh they are. Now, I'd like to apply Marxist criticism to this play. So, Marxist criticism is a theory that differences in socioeconomic class divide people in ways that are much more significant than religion, race, gender, or ethnicity. So, we see the struggle and the battle between the working and the ruling class in this play as well as in many works of literature. And so we kind of see that the elitists and the countrymen are at this constant battle. The countrymen want an equal say, but the rulers are obviously power hungry and in a happy situation for themselves. Going on to talk about democracy, although to some it may seem like a manipulation thing to try and get equal say, and some may believe that it doesn't work, but we see that the power of individual expression that comes from a democratic government is a well sought after, especially in this excerpt by Julius Caesar. Going on to talk about independent thinking. Caesar's murder was necessary in creating a free and united country. Caesar is a symbol of the division. So, and as soon as Caesar was killed, the unification started and the Roman Republic began to form. The Roman Republic is basically just where all parties had an equal say into the government, and it's a way that we in America form our government now, which is really interesting. Brutus goes on to say in his monologue, "Censor me in your wisdom and awaken your senses so that you may be the better judge." Now, This I thought was really an interesting fact. Because Brutus felt the need to awaken his audience's senses mean that they had not been awake during the rule of Caesar. So I thought this was very interesting that the oppression of the thought process of, the working class is really a problem in a lot of overbearing governments. Going on to talk about how political unrest creates this conflict, it kind of led to the revolution. Using Marx's criticism again, we see that the real forces that create human experience are the economic systems that structure human societies. So, although this might seem a bit dense, it's really simple that the economic structure would be the ruling class that kind of dictates the entire society without giving the working class an equal say. This corrupt influence from the working ruling class is just shows how easily the population can be manipulated by somebody with power. People are power hungry, and knowledge is power. And having the knowledge to manipulate an entire community is one of the most powerful things you can have. So I leave you with this. The power of individualism creates a war between the people and their economic dictators. The control of economic power is the incentive behind all social and political actions.